first heat, Heat A. Great shot of the start-finish line. The flags to the right giving indication of a little breeze that's coming across the circuit. But we are basking in the sunshine here in October. So if you remember from the qualifying session earlier on, Eden Hassan was the fastest of the DRS62 drivers, 4th in the championship at the moment. And Hassan it will be who starts from the inside of the front row. Ella Stevens will start alongside, a return to the series for Ella Stevens. Just a 10th and a half or so between the two of them. And then Jacob Ashcroft and Archie Heron. Championship leader Archie Heron will start 4th on the grid. So the remainder of the field, so looking towards the rear end of the field, Hadley Simpson, Thomas Spearing, Adam Bourne, Jamie Warner, Oliver Gibson and Oscar Cole complete the 14 drivers that start this A heat for the DRS62s. So they begin their formation lap. They'll go round twice. They'll have 2 opportunities to gather as much energy, as much heat into tyres, brakes, get themselves familiar. Not that they won't be familiar with this Llandow circuit, as they've been here all weekend. Done lap after lap of practice, of qualifying. They'll all be very well aware of the fastest way around this Llandow circuit. So, Hassan and Stevens, front row. Keep an eye on Archie Heron, the championship leader, on row 2. They'll come back into some sort of order. Remember that the pace is dictated by the pole man, so it's up to Eden Hassan to keep them all attached, to keep them all nice and close. He's doing a pretty good job as they head down this long hanger straight. They'll swing round at Raymond's. This is where you start to get a little bit of gamesmanship. Stevens will want to get a little bit ahead because she's got the longer way to go around the outside of Raymond. So if I was Ella Stevens, I'd just be trying to get my nose in front at the moment so that even when they come out, I don't think she's quite done that yet. She hasn't done that, and Hassan has got the best of the lines. They come up towards each other, and Hassan has got the best of starts, or has he? Because Stevens goes round the outside and did try and get the drop into the first chicane, but didn't manage to make it stick. So Hassan it is who leads. They're all very well organised, aren't they? Very neat and tidy and polite through the first chicane at the hook. They go through Surtees, and then they hold up towards the right-hander, and then they drop down to Chandler's, and Hassan it is who leads, then Stevens is in second. Ashcroft is just in behind them, Jacob Ashcroft. Then Archie Heron has held on to the top 4 as they were on the road, with the top 4 as they went through the line, through the first chicane, and as they are now. So Stevens then will want to try and get on terms with the race leader. Eden Hassan, over start finish they go then. The gap between the two of them is around half a second, 0.4 of a second, so that gap becomes critical now with Ashcroft in behind. Now, does Ashcroft think, right, I can't afford to sit behind Ella Stevens here. I'm going to have to try and find a way through and try and get on terms with Eden Hassan before he disappears potentially into the distance. Is that a tactic that Ashcroft will consider? If he does try and find a way past Stevens, he's probably got to do it at a point where he's not going to lose an awful lot of track time himself. Hassan, oh, very wide on the exit, goes Archie Heron, so Heron goes wide. He'll get all sorts of dirt and rubber and trees and grass all over the tyres, and that will cause him all kinds of problems for the next half a lap or so, although he is trying to get back on terms and re-attack the number 4 of Gurney as they go into the Raymond's once more. But a mistake on the exit then of Chandler's from championship leader Archie Heron, and he's dropped back down from 4th. He might just have recovered back up 1 into 5th, but he certainly lost some ground on the race leaders, and that is not the start that Archie Heron will have wanted as they go through. The gap between 1st and 2nd then is half a second, so Stevens has lost another 10th or so in the last 2 laps as we wait for them to come back into our view now. So Hassan, Stevens, Ashcroft, then it's the 83 of Joshua Turnbull, and for my money Stevens is a little bit closer this time, so I wonder if Eden Hassan made a little mistake last time round. The gap's down to 2.5 tenths. So Stevens certainly starting to come back on, goes a little bit wide, so all that hard work from Ella Stevens just undone a little bit as she got a little bit wide, missed the apex through the left of the hook last time round. It might just have cost her around about a 10th of a second, and now she has got also Jacob Ashcroft in close proximity as well. Here is the battle further down the field, including Heron, Turnbull, Gurney, Taylor, McDermott. They're the top 8 at the moment. Then the 114 of Hadley Simpson is in 9th, and then it's the number 124 of Thomas Spearing in 10th. Leaders then are into Raymond's once more. She's still right there, Ella Stevens. Just around a 10.5 is the gap between the two of them. A 50.9 for Eden Hassan last time round as they swing down towards the left-hander at Surtees. Here they are, the race leaders. Now, where does Ella Stevens think is the place to try and put a move on Eden Hassan? Hassan, who is, or has been, the class of the field, it has to be said. He's not leading the championship, but he's won more than his fair share of races here in the DRS series. He's just managed to put a little half a car length of buffer between himself and Stevens as they come back down the long straight here. Stevens tucks in behind, but he's maybe 2 car lengths now behind, and here's the battle between Heron and Gurney, 4th and 5th. As they stream through, will Gurney have a look into the hook? He doesn't this time, and Heron holds on to that 4th place. They're now some 2 seconds short of this 3-car battle for the lead that is Hassan and Stevens, and then another 6 or 7 tenths back to Jacob Ashcroft in 3rd place. The 84 of Jasmine Taylor is in 7th, so a good showing from the rookie driver, 7th place at the moment. Then the 91 of Lucas McDermott. So here are the leaders. Now, for my money, just tracking Hassan is Stevens. The gap was 3 tenths last time. It's now still 3 tenths. So Hassan just doing enough at the moment as we see the move between the number 91 McDermott, who was trying to find a way past Simpson and Spearing. Hasn't managed to do so and drops Lucas McDermott to 10th at the moment. So then, we are just around 2 minutes plus 1 final lap to go here on the first cadet heat, and we're looking at the leaders, and again, is Stevens slightly closer this time? The leaders have just crossed start finish. just going into the hook. The gap between them is still, she's taken another half a tenth or so as we look back to Hadley Simpson in 8th place. Number 114 doing a good job at keeping Thomas Spearing behind in 9th and trying to chase the 84 of Jasmine Taylor in 7th place. So Hassan and Stevens are the front two. Gap between them remains fairly stable. There is a further gap back now to Ashcroft, who hasn't managed to hold the pace of these two. And they are putting quite a pace on these front two. And right under the bumper is Stevens now. So the gap was 2 tenths last time. It's not that this time, is it? Because they're absolutely right together as they go through the hook once more. A little bit wide again from Stevens. She misses the apex on the central part of the hook through the left-hander, and it does cost her a tenth or so of that advantage that she'd managed to close in on Aiden Hassan. So every time, well, not every time, but certainly 2 of the last 3 or 4 times through the left of the hook, she's got a wider line, she's missing the apex. It's just costing her a tenth of a second. She spends the rest of the lap just trying to get on terms, but she does that very, very well indeed, and so well indeed that she's gone past the race leader of Aiden Hassan at Chandler's at the bottom of the circuit. And the new race leader then, with 30 seconds to go, plus that one final lap, Hassan has relinquished that lead to Ella Stevens. There's a back marker as well coming up. Does the back marker get out of the way? They do. Oh, and a little bit wide. Does he manage to get through just about? Aiden Hassan just thought about going very late indeed, and now he's right back, tucked under the bumper of Ella Stevens. Into Surtees they go through the left-hander. They've still got one more lap after this one. And down the inside goes Hassan. Through the inside, into the left, and back comes Stevens down the inside and manages to get the undercut on the way through. There's no contact between them. It's nice and clean from the 2 of them. And Stevens says, no thank you, Aiden. You won't find a way through the bottom end of the circuit. And now they are right together. This could be one hell of a final lap here as they come down the hanger straight. Here comes Hassan down the inside into Raymond's. Will he make it stick this time? He will. Will he manage to hold off Stevens on the undercut on the way through the side by side? And Stevens retakes the lead into the hook. 1 lap to go then. Into the hook they go. We'll keep with these 2 as they go down towards Surtees. Now this was the point in which Hassan found a way through. Stevens goes on the defensive now. That is the slower way around this Llandow circuit, but they are very, very close as Hassan goes to the outside. Stevens covers it off. Has Hassan lost maybe a tenth of a second there as they go into Chandler's, and he'll have just the chicane, just the Dell corner, and just Raymond's to try and find a way through. The 2 of them then come on to the hanger straight for the final time. This is where he managed to find a way past last time. Will he go to the inside? Will she cover it off? He goes to the inside, late under the brakes goes Hassan, and down the inside on the undercut comes Ella Stevens, and Stevens wins it then. It was a last gasp, late braking move from Aiden Hassan, but he just couldn't stop it enough to get it jacked up and turned in on the right-hander. He couldn't cover the inside line on the way out of the corner, and Ella Stevens said thank you very much. She set him up an absolute treat, and she then wins the first heat A for the DRS62s. What an absolute cracker between the 2 of them. Stevens wins it then, Hassan in 2nd place, Ashcroft a distant 3rd. The battle between Heron and Gurney was won by Jamie Gurney. He finished in 4th place. Archie Heron was 5th.